Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Money in the Law. It is on My FM 101.3, but not really today.
Today's a little different. Today's a little different.
Yeah, so it won't be on My FM unless there's some way to share the audio from this.
Well, this is weird because we usually lead with the radio.
Yeah.
Today we're leading with the video.
We're here.
Today
we're at the radio station.
Yeah, but we're leading with the video due to some technical malfeasance that we're not quite sure how it came together.
The Holliston Cable Access
Here
TV,
we are.
soon to be the Holliston. Oh, can I tease that?
No.
Can I tease that?
No. You're gonna get someo's permission.
What I do know is that the Holliston HCAT, Holliston Cable Access TV, is there's going to be some growth. There's going to be some changes.
I love it.
And that I do know.
I won't.
So that'll be my teaser. I'm not going to give away any of the other the secret sauce for that.
Nice.
But
Good. Excellent.
it's going to be great. So we're here with our man Tom Harmon. He's the only one who actually knows what he's doing around here. That's not true.
No, not true. Ray knows what he's doing.
He gave his
Ray
best
left
shot.
his phone, so we should probably do something with this.
We need to send some texts. Right?
Yep.
Ray,
we need to take a picture.
Yeah, Ray. What's your password, just so we can send some messages to some people?
Yep. Ray was.
I don't have a password.
Oh, hey, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Ignore those. Don't look at those around the school.
Get a couple selfies of me and Jay.
That's right.
All right. So here we are. As you know, this is Money in the Law. We talk about anything and everything that has to do with the concept of money and finance, and then we go ahead and we transition into anything that has to do with the legal matters, particularly, and a lot of things of how like law and money kind of overlap.
A lot of dovetailing, as they say in the furniture business. A lot of dovetailing.
That is the Jay Morrison wheelhouse right there. You want to talk about, which is why you were selected for this. Well,
it was a pretty high-end interview process back in the day.
Let's cast our minds back, right? Cast our minds.
Yeah.
So do you remember? Do you remember like who was approached first?
I believe you approached me.
I think I did.
And you were like, "Hey, we should Tom, this dude who owns a radio station in Milford wants us to do a show.
That's right.
I have an idea."
That's right. And so, as you said, it was an extensive interview process. I think I interviewed every lawyer that, probably in about a 50-mile radius here of the greater Milford area.
Yeah, easily.
And
they all said no.
Well,
and here you are.
They didn't all say they all said, "When can I start?"
Yep.
And I was like, "Well, let's just let me see. We'll let you know. We'll call you. Our people will get in touch with your people."
Yep.
And you ended up passing the muster. For all the right reasons. You were in the right age bracket, right? You weren't gonna show me up on TV if we ever made it to TV.
And the physical. I think the physical defeats the strength. That was a very difficult part of the whole challenge.
Right. I had to be older than you, which I was.
You had to look worse than me on TV. That's right.
Well,
that's right.
Or better. I'm not sure. Let me go back to my notes on that. Yeah.
Go back and check it out. Hey, before we jump in, I do have to say I have to give a big shout out to two of our most favorite dedicated listeners.
Oh, I'm all in because it's a long list.
It's a long list. But it's my in-laws, the greatest in-laws on the planet, the greatest in-laws on the planet, Bobby and Connie McGaffigan. And I say that because if something goes wrong and the show doesn't show up on time on Saturdays, she sends me a text. She's like, "What's up with the show? Is it a repeat? What's going on?" They're very dedicated. They're very committed. Oh. They will be heading down south very shortly.
They're
on their way. Yeah, on their way.
For how long? For
2 months. 2 months. 2 months. Yep.
Wow.
So, hats off to them. Safe travels, Bobby. Safe travels, Connie.
Yeah, and these are your in-laws because they are the parents of your wife, who is arguably.
Well, that's kind of how it works. Yeah, that's how it works. That's usually how it works. Do you get different ones?
So I'm guessing.
Is there a different option?
I'm guessing that the apple hasn't fallen far from the tree because she, of course, is one of the most kindest and nicest and wonderful people I've ever met. Not only in this town, but probably on my whole list.
That's why I married her. That's why I tricked her into marrying me.
I was going to say, you married up.
Absolutely. You'll get no argument from me on that. No. There's a couple of things I won't argue about. That's one of them.
Yeah.
That's one of them.
All right. So have a safe trip to Mr. and Mrs. McGaffigan.
Drive safe.
We'll see. We'll
see you on the backside.
Because they obviously have the My FM app on their phones.
Yes, they can listen to the show. Down at the pool down in Venice, Florida.
Put that on the speaker, right?
Yeah.
Put this on. It's 9 o'clock, right? Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, 11. It's 11.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, we go. That's right. We're 11, right?
11 o'clock.
It's funny. So speaking of, I've had several more people that have told me that they've heard us on the radio. So,
Of course, yes.
So as we said, we talked about this.
The legions are growing, my friend. The legions are growing.
And the rule is, if you listen to us on the radio and you let us know, and and there's some feedback, and you answer a couple questions correctly, like when I ask who's funnier, you give the right answer.
Who's buried in Grant's tomb? I got it. Yep.
You get a T-shirt.
It could be a T-shirt in your future.
You get a T-shirt.
Yes, it could be.
But I think we're out of T-shirts.
We are.
All right, so
We
it's
are.
time.
I have a couple socked away for some special select.
Okay, so
listeners.
so it's official right now. The T-shirts, we're reloading the T-shirts.
Nice, love
All
it.
right, I'll make that call today. So we're gonna get some more T-shirts for all of our fans, so you guys will be able to be rewarded for your loyalty.
We don't want you to miss out. We don't want you to miss out.
And
We
your,
don't want you to
yeah,
miss
and
out.
your- I have a shout out to give as well.
Oh, do
All
tell.
right, my
Do tell.
shout
Do
out
tell.
is to our esteemed cameraman and executive producer at HCAT, Tom Harmon. Right?
the
And here's
great-
why.
Why?
So Tom Harmon, the last time, if you remember, Tom gave us each a Christmas gift.
Oh,
right?
yes, he
a
did.
Christmas gift. He gave us.
No,
so-
he did. It wasn't just a gift. It was a gift
from
of the
heart. Right?
Yes,
It was
yes,
from the heart,
yes,
right?
Yes,
it was
yes.
it was of course the Dunkin' Donuts gift card, right? Which hey,
Which
I'm going to buy
speaks
you. I mean,
volumes,
think of it,
speaks
'cause
volumes.
It's a cup of coffee, right? And if someone hands you a cup of coffee,
You're not
like,
gonna throw it in their face?
What?
Yes.
No, you're not
No.
dumping it on the rug.
Yes.
No, you're drinking it. And you're saying that's the nicest thing anyone's ever done.
Yes.
But it wasn't just that. It was. I'll tell you what. It was. Did you eat any of those pickles yet?
Yeah, I'm saving it for a special day. Actually, I like to put them on something. So, I'm
So,
saving it.
so my special day was yesterday.
Yeah, you just
And
sat there.
I came.
shoveling through them.
So here I'm putting this on TV. So I came down. I came home and I'm like, I am starving. I had some cheese. I had some like extra toast. My wife and I ate that whole jug of pickles.
Yes.
Ate them.
Yes.
Done. And I'm right. And I'm like, I need to ask for more. There's got to be more where this came from. So
No, you get
next
more.
time,
You know, when you get more next year. That's when you get more.
the next time you guys put that batch together, I'm
gave
putting
yourself-
my order.
you
in.
gave yourself, you get more next year.
You won't stop.
No,
you
I
won't
don't
be able to
believe I
stop
will.
eating
No.
them. I'm
No.
telling you, they're
Nice.
that good. So thank you very much. They were fantastic. Like I'm not just saying that. They were. I'm like,
No.
these are. And I'm like, these are really. These are good. I'm gonna put some more on. Yeah, it was delicious.
Look, pickles are the thing that you don't even think to add to something.
No.
And then you put them on, and you're like,
why didn't I do
why,
this?
why
Yeah.
haven't I done this every day for the rest of my entire life?
right.
I
Pickles,
mean,
relish, like all that stuff.
all
like,
that stuff. All that stuff. There's a whole unspoken list of condiments that you forget that they just level everything up.
Yeah, right. And
pickles
there's
are-
no right. And then when you say, okay, well, I'm trying to eat healthy, like. There's nothing unhealthy about a pickle.
No,
oil
there's
in
not.
it,
No,
no fat, right? There's
no.
there's like next to nothing calories. Like,
Yep.
why don't I eat more of these?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%.
All right, so Tom, your homemade pickles, that pickle concoction, fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
And you know what that pickle juice is really good in? A Bloody Mary.
Ah!
That's right.
Bada.
That's right. That's right.
And
that's
it's 11
right.
o'clock in the morning, so many of you may be on your first or third Bloody Mary.
Yeah, but you can't have them at afternoon time, so you got
No.
1 hour.
Get it done.
Get it done. Get her done. Get her done.
Get 'em in.
Get her
Right.
done. No,
Get 'em in.
None afternoon. None
Okay.
afternoon.
All right, so what are we talking about today?
What's on your mind? You get something written down over
Do
there.
we
so what's
do
on
we
your mind?
have do we have to do do we have to do commercials now? Or are we gonna like right? Because if we're
That's
on
that's a great point.
HCAT's like Tom's like yeah we do.
please do commercials.
Yeah,
Please do commercials.
Please make it
You two for 50 minutes straight. I can't take it. I need
All
a
right,
break.
so I wanted to talk about one of the things that that again in our practice and in yours as well,
Sure,
in,
yeah.
in the finance practice, is the idea of distribution, right?
Yes.
The idea so. We always kind of pride ourselves in all roads lead to retirement, but at some point, when retirement happens, there comes a time when you have to start taking income, right?
Oh, got to convert that
Right.
gigantic pot of cash that you've been saving into income.
Because by definition, retirement means that you are no longer working at whatever job that you were working. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you're not
Possibly.
working.
Yep.
You could be doing something else, but what retirement means is that you're no longer working at your normal day job that you had been.
Correct.
So but unless you have unless you're like Kane from Kung Fu and you're just wandering the earth and just doing and you don't need any money, or you're one of those the missionaries that we don't need any money, we just go and God will
Just
take
go
care
and
of
do
it.
our thing. Just go and do our thing.
Unless you're one of those people, you need money. You need income to kind of buy things.
Money is helpful.
Well, for things like food and pickles and
Yep.
anything else.
Lights.
coffee.
Yep, coffee.
Lights,
It's good. Yep.
Yeah, heat, those kind of
Yep.
things.
Beer. Yep.
So what so now's the time when potentially you may have to start taking some money from all of, like as you said, the money that you've saved up over all of these years.
Yeah.
So the question is, how do I do it? And this is the age-old question.
Take it
what
all
do
at
I-
once.
what
Take it
do I
all at
have?
once. Take it
What
all at
do
once.
I have?
Take it all at once. Just take it
What
all
do
at
I
once.
have? And what is the
One big check.
the most efficient way? So I'll ask you, when you're talking about distributions of different types of assets, what's probably one of the first or one of the first things that you think about in terms of, as I take my distribution, what's one of the critical factors of that? It starts with a T and rhymes with ax. I'll give you a hint.
Tracks.
Well, that's the tracks. What tracks your train will go on? No. I would say tax.
Okay. I'll buy. I'll bite.
All right.
I'll bite.
Right. So the taxation, right? So the taxation of, because remember, if you have different kind of buckets of assets, the taxation might be different on some of those assets.
Would you pull from the money that's the least taxable first? Or would you pull from the money that's the most taxable
That's
first?
the question, right?
Kind of what I'm sensing here.
That's the question. So what do I do? And is there a like a turnkey or like a just one, this is the right answer for everything? The answer is no. The answer is
The lawyer answer is depends.
I love that's why there's a lawyer on this show, right? That's why there's a lawyer.
Right. That's
So you're right. It's all going to be case dependent, but there is some kind of generalities that you can think about when we talk about tax. And financial advisors, all the guys and girls you've seen over the years, everybody's kind of got their own little, oh no, this is the way to do it. This is the way to do it. So we'll give you our spin on this and give you some of the thoughts and some of the things to think about as you're doing it, because some people, they've talked to their Uncle Fred, and Uncle Fred says, oh, this is the way you got to do it. Let me tell you, this is the best way. And
Uncle Fred's a dummy.
Uncle Fred may not be fully aware of everything that's of all the potential things that are out there.
And everybody has an Uncle Fred. They always got that guy who read the newspaper.
Yeah.
And thinks he's like the money guy.
Yeah.
So everyone goes to him and he's talking
And he may
about-
be right. He may be right, but he may be right for Uncle Fred and may not be right for Uncle Jay or
right.
Uncle John.
Good
All
point.
right.
Excellent point.
All right. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll dive into this. I like your that's your Liverpool shirt, right?
Yeah, baby.
It's your Liverpool
Football Club. Go, baby.
All right, and the other thing that we have today, of course,
maybe
is
later.
there may be a music.
We're going to do the whole last part of the show in song.
Right? Maybe like a
We're going to write
Broadway
a song
musical.
about. Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's like Glee.
All right, we'll be right back.
And we're back. My
What
FM.
microphone are you talking?
101.3. That's right. So I was thinking, muscle memory, right? I keep forgetting there's no microphone here. Right? I keep forgetting.
Why is my microphone way over there? Yeah.
Jay Marsden, Money in the Law. Jay Marsden's Martin Law Group. John Droham, Mayfair Financial. Tom behind the camera, and he's like the man today because there is no radio because these things are dead, right?
But it's
Nothing,
weird not having
nothing.
the microphone right there. It's almost like kind of like a little like a crutch or like.
Remember we
like a-
transitioned out of the headphones? It was like
Yeah.
a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, it's like your kid's starting to drive, you're a little wigged out. You know,
It's
this
a
is
security
crazy.
blanket, right?
Yep, that's right. The headphones were hello. Not doing that. So we're talking distribution today. I actually love this topic.
Yeah.
This is probably one of my favorite topics, other than the law, about converting your money to income, because it's a mystery. It's like turning lead into gold for people. It's like, I don't get it. I don't know how it works. I don't know how to do this. I don't like. You spend your whole life amassing this war chest, and you're using your phrase, and then you just don't know how to do something with it.
Yeah.
And I think this is like critical to the whole. This is why you do it.
Well, the first thing is, remember when you retire, the day before you retire and the day after you retire, those 2 days aren't very different, right?
No.
Not from I still need money. Maybe I don't need quite as much money, but I still need income. We always tell our clients, like, everybody, we're wired that way. We're wired to have kind of like a weekly or a bi-weekly or a monthly income.
Well, if you've been getting a check your whole
You're used to that.
entire work life,
Right.
to have that thing all of a sudden come to a screeching halt, that's big. That's an emotional. I mean, there's something there. That's not just like, oh, I'm concerned about it and it needs to be fluffed off. It's a real thing. It's a real thing.
Right, especially if you're because the electric bill is going to come, right? Your
Those keep
taxation,
coming. Yeah, those keep coming.
Your real estate tax is going to keep coming. Maybe you have a mortgage. Maybe your mortgage payment
Cable
is still
bill.
due.
Yep.
Maybe you have
Car
a car
payment.
All of it, right? You still bills, right? You still got your credit cards. If you're going to go to the store and buy something, right? If you're going to go out to dinner, all of that stuff is going to happen. So, and you're used to having enough money to pay that off. I mean, it's not, it's not rocket science. So that day after, the day you start, you kind of want things to just continue on as like business as usual.
That's your hope.
Right?
That's your hope.
Right. So you have your war chest. You have the money that I'm going to use to help draw from retirement. But before we even go to the war chest, what are some of the other things that potentially you could be using to augment your income? Because what we're trying to do is trying to build that retirement income from different things. All right, anybody other than Jay? All right, we'll have to go with you, Jay.
Social Security?
Social Security, right? So
It all starts and ends right there.
Yep. So you might be at that point in your life where you are collecting Social Security, whether it be you're collecting it early, whether it be you're collecting it at full Social Security, or whether you've pushed it out till age 70 and you're starting to collect Social. So you have the Social Security income, and maybe you have two Social Security incomes if you're married and have a joint income.
Sure.
So Social Security that's kind of like your baseline income, right? That's your baseline. This is what I get for breathing. I wake up every month, my Social Security check.
Lifetime income, we like to call it.
It's a lifetime.
Alive, you get it.
It's a lifetime income.
Yeah.
Okay, so pretty much mostly everybody gets Social Security unless you've done something else, like potentially maybe you've worked for the state. Maybe
you have a municipal pension, you're a teacher,
you're a
firefighter, something like that. Well, you don't get it because they have a windfall thing where they don't want you to get both. So
Well, yeah, so maybe you haven't qualified. If you've been a teacher your whole life, you've never paid into Social Security, you've paid into the state pension. So in your case, you're going to get a pension. You're going to get, which is, in many ways similar to Social Security. Usually it's a lot more lucrative than Social Security, but so you're going to get this baseline income. So from there, we have to augment that. So let's say whatever our number is, right? So let's say before we retired, we needed to make $50,000 a year. That was our base income in order just to manage.
Yeah, $4,000 a month. You need $4,000 a month to make the trains run. $4,000 a month.
Right. So after retirement, I need the same thing, right?
Yep.
Let's say my Social Security is $2,000 a month.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, all right. And it's easy math, right?
Math. Oh, boy.
I mean, we could make it, $87,000 and do it that way, right? And look silly on TV.
Not wired for that today. No.
So, all right, so $4,000 a month is what we need. We get $2 from Social Security. We need to make up $2.
All right. Where's it come from?
So it's coming from our war chest, right?
Okay.
So we're going to take a distribution from the money that we have. So the war chest oftentimes comes in there's different pieces of the war chest.
Call it $1 million.
So we have $1 million. Okay,
Just make it nice. Make math easy.
So we have $1 million in our war, and let's say this is all the money we have.
That's
right?
it. Yeah, that's the
all
whole pool.
money.
That's the whole pool.
Okay, so in our practice, normally what we say is we'll say if somebody has the money that's dedicated towards retirement, we usually kind of use the back of the napkin number of 4 to 6% is what you can take as your income.
Yep.
So using the $1 million analogy. If I have $1 million and I take 4%, that translates to 40. So $40,000 is about it. That's a comfortable number of what you can take.
A reasonable expectation.
Yep. What you can take per
Got
year.
it.
All right. So now, if I don't have to take $40,000, do I take it? If I don't have to.
I mean, I think the answer is no.
Yeah.
If you don't need the 40, why take the 40? Uncle Sam will tell you when you get to that time how much you should be taking. But for purposes of our discussion, if you only need 2, then don't take 4.
Yeah. So let's say in our example, let's say that the $50,000 number. So that's a relatively low number if you have $1 million inside your war and you're getting 2,000. So in order to meet that ends of an additional $2,000 a month, I have $1 million that I can use to draw income from. I don't, in simple math, I need an additional what? I need an additional $25,000, right?
Yeah.
So if I take an additional, so that's not 4%, that's 2.5%, right? If I take an additional $25,000. So the question is, And that's good, right? That's if I don't, because we say if I can put less pressure on my portfolio to generate income, because things may change. That $50,000 number may change, may become more. For
Well, if you're in year one, you're absolutely right. I mean, who knows what your retirement looks like? If you're going to travel, if you have a whole bunch of things you're going to do, that number absolutely is not necessarily
for whatever
written
reason.
down. Yep.
Kids move back into your house.
Sure.
You have to move for whatever reason, for health purposes, whatever costs that you could incur.
Sure.
Health care costs or things like that. You may need more money down the road. So if I can, and we're not saying don't spend your money, because you heard it here. Your financial planner right here.
Oh, spend
money.
money.
Money was made to be spent, just not all
yeah.
in one weekend in Mohegan Sun.
No.
But it was, or Vegas, or
Foxwoods.
Atlanta, or where?
Foxwoods.
Or the woods, right?
Twin River.
Yeah, the Riv.
Either way.
Yeah.
Don't
spend it all there.
You'd be very popular.
In one weekend, right?
That's right,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah. Or, you could spend it all in Vegas, but just don't do it.
Don't do it.
But the idea is that, your money was made to be spent. So, if you're like saying, well, he said on the radio or on TV that, I want to spend as little as much as I can.
You're not hearing that. No.
Yeah, I mean,
You're on the wrong
you
station.
don't want to squander your money. You don't want to be frivolous with it. But at the same time, if you want to buy something and you have the means to do it and you have the capability, then you want to if you want to take extra
You want
income,
to plan for how you spend your money.
yeah. So back to our distribution. So inside of that war chest, you're going to have most people have different compartments, and usually the compartments will consist of three potential things. One is, and we refer back to the taxation. One is you have money that's already been taxed. Your after-tax money. So that's money that's in your savings account, money that's in your checking account, money that's in a CD, money that's in a brokerage account, a non-IRA brokerage account.
And we've talked about this before, and I don't want to harp on it too much, but this is the part this is the understanding of your portfolio that people really struggle with. Everybody gets the IRA, 401k. They all understand that because they know the name. They know how it's set up. They know it's under the umbrella.
They know that they haven't paid taxes on it.
Yes. But you can have the same thing, just not IRA,
No.
just not 401k. It's just money that you've invested, that you've saved.
Well, that's a good question. Like, where does it come from?
That's
Right? Where does it
That's
come
right.
from? So,
sale of a house, sale of a property, inheritance.
Hey.
That's where this stuff comes from. It's just money.
Yep.
It's just not IRA money. And I don't mean to harp on it, but we see more people who kind of struggle with this part of the plan because they just don't understand that concept of, but if it's not IRA money, if it's not 401k money, what is it?
Yeah.
It's just money.
Yeah.
Just money that you save.
And how many times have people said to you, you're like, well, we don't want to. I don't want to touch that. I don't want. I don't want to touch that. And you're like, okay, well, and then I'll ask, well, why?
Right.
Well, I get it. If you want to save it, that's one thing. Well, I don't want to, the total taxation thing. Like, stop. I go, I mean, now, granted, if you bought Amazon stock, back in 1999, then and you haven't sold it, and
we got to figure out how you get to it.
That's a capital gains, a huge capital gains tax. But this is after tax money. So
Right.
if I've already paid taxes on it, if there's a gain because I'm going to sell some, but if it's sitting in the bank, it's after tax money.
That's
There's no tax on it. There's no income tax on it, which is different from my qualified stuff like my 401k or my traditional IRAs.
And this could be where you start. This could be where you start, right?
Well, this is what we're talking about today, right? This is your distribution. So, so let's say our client is, we'll use real time. So they're 67, right? They're taking their full Social Security. So they're IRA. Well, they're born after 19.
Yeah. They're in our window. Yeah.
So you're at 67 and you have $1 million, and let's say you have $200,000 in money in non-IRA money. Let's say bank account and a brokerage account.
Just savings.
Yep.
Just sitting around.
Savings or a brokerage account or an investment
My
account.
favorite account, yep.
But again, it's invested and it may look a whole lot like your IRA or your Roth IRA. But remember, it's a different taxation.
Correct.
So you got $200,000 in there, and let's say you have a Roth IRA. So you were lucky enough to be able to have a Roth IRA. So let's say you have a Roth IRA. Let's say you have $100,000 in a Roth IRA. So I have 200, 100 in a Roth, and we'll talk about that. And then the rest of it is inside a 401k or an IRA.
Got it. All right.
700. So I have $700,000. 700 in a traditional IRA or traditional 401k. So what does that mean? Let's review what a traditional 401k or traditional IRA. What's the difference between that and my non-IRA money?
Well, that's where you put all your money away. It's all tax deferred. It's never paid any taxes.
You said tax like 3 times.
As soon as you take it out, Uncle Sam says, "Give me some money."
So this is the thing, right? And we mentioned this at the beginning of the show. Taxation is one of kind of the leading, kind of things that you need to differentiate. It's going to differentiate the different types of money. And thinking about the taxation of things is very important. Now, some people get hung up like way too much, like oh my God,
Yeah.
oh they let taxes wag the dog, but in the grand scheme of things, you have to take taxes into consideration.
Sure.
You always have to take taxes into consideration. All right, so back to our distribution. So we need to generate another $2,000 a year, $2,000 a month for our income. What is your idea of where that money should come from?
And I got $200,000 kicking around in a brokerage account.
You have $200,000. Let's call it $200,000 in a brokerage.
I start there.
Okay, why?
Why? Because it's already been taxed.
Okay.
I'm going to leave the IRA alone. I'm going to let it continue
You study for the quiz.
its tax deferred, hopefully growth, depending on the market does. I'm not going to ignore the timeline because in theory, I've got this $200,000, and if all I need is $2,000 a month, $20,000 a year, this could be the money that I use for the next 10 years. Mm-hmm. And my IRA stays alone. Leave it alone. I'll have to take distributions at some point. Uncle Sam will make me, but I don't need to spend it. I could just add it to my bucket.
So the general rule of thumb, and you hit on it. The general rule of thumb is I want to forego paying taxes as long as I can.
Sure.
I want to kick that can down the road as long as I can. Why? Why not?
Why not? Who likes paying taxes?
Well, I mean, it's not that. No one likes paying taxes, and it's part of doing business. But
if you can avoid it,
no, and I'm not avoiding it.
No.
I'm postponing it, right?
Yes.
I'm waiting.
Oh yeah, you can't outrun it, but yeah.
And I'm waiting until I have to do it for all the right reasons, right? Because remember, if I'm taking money from an already taxed account and I've just retired, what could that allow me to do? It could put me into a lower tax bracket.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So again, all operating within the the parameters of the law. If I can pay lower taxes, why wouldn't I do that?
I can't think of a reason you would not.
Okay, so I agree with you. I think that in the beginning, like kind of that first distribution piece, again, depending upon kind of how your investments are set up, but if everything's kind of, equally like invested across the board, if I could take distributions from something that has already been taxed, that is going to alleviate my tax burden, and it's going to allow me to keep money in both my traditional IRA and my Roth IRA, because remember, the Roth IRA does the same thing. Any of my gains, it's
tax
deferred. It's
yeah,
deferred down the road.
Yeah.
So we'll talk more about the Roth IRA because that's kind of another kicker at the end. So in the beginning, I'm going to take money from my pre-tax distribution. Now here's one caveat to that we always say is, remember, and anybody who retire, like all of our retirees, we always have like kind of this like safety net. This safety bucket. We have this bucket of money, and again, proportional to how much they have or how much, kind of how much wealth they have, is you're going to have a safety bucket, and that bucket is after-tax money. It's not retirement money.
Right.
And it means if I need to go and get a lot of money for some reason, whether it be the right reason or for an emergency or for a wedding or something like that,
that's right. Yep.
I'm going to have that and keep that kind of at arm's length and not use that as my distribution because why? Because if all I have is pre-tax money that's already been taxed, and let's say I need to take $100,000, what happens? I'm going to pay taxes, but let's say I have to take a lot of money. Let's say I have to take $200,000. Right, and I could end up paying a lot of taxes all at once.
Well, because if you need 100, net 100, you want to put 100 in your pocket. Got to take 120.
Yep.
125, whatever your bracket is, whatever your situation is.
That's right. So when someone says I need 100, if I have $700,000 in my IRA, and I say, I need $200,000, it's not like I just take $200,000 out and then it's good. It's like I take $200,000, but I have to account for the taxation.
Well, that's like net 160. I mean, that's a big difference.
Because remember, that money, and this is the whole thing with traditional IRAs and 401ks, that money has never been taxed.
Right.
It's never been taxed. So, and that's the beauty of it, right? It's never been taxed. But when it comes time, Uncle Sam's going to get his money. He's
Right.
going to, the tax man's going to pay. So when you take the distribution, you have to pay tax as if it's income. It's taxed as income.
And we have preached that concept on this show over and over and over again, which is, yes, it's great to load up your retirement account. It's great to lead with your 401k. It's great to lead with your IRA. But do not forego the opportunity to create a taxable portfolio that has money in it for things like, I don't know, fill in the blank. You want to buy a place on the Cape. That's your thing.
You want to pay for your daughter's wedding.
That's right. You don't want every single decision. You don't want every single tax issue. You don't want every single withdrawal decision to go through your 401k, through your tax deferred money. It just costs you more money to get it.
It costs you more money. And again, we come back to this whole thing about, we're kind of harping on the whole tax thing, and taxes are important, but at the same time, it's not, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
Like, so if for whatever reason push comes to shove, let's say I don't have that. Let's say many people don't. Many people just, they retire, they load up their, because I'll always say, and you will too, if you say, okay, I want to, this money is earmarked for retirement. I'm going to use this for retirement. Where should I put it? You're going to say 9.9 out of 10 times, put it in your 401k, or get the ability to defer
Right,
taxes.
there might be a match. There might be this, there might be
Yep.
that. Yeah, that's the best way to do it. That's
Yep.
your number one way to save for your retirement.
For your retirement, so long as you can, kind of cover all of your other expenses. But if you can I will say, max out your 401k.
Yeah.
If your wife has a 401k, max out her 401k. Do everything that you can that's where I have the ability to defer taxes every single time. I'll say do that unless, as long as I don't need the money sooner rather than later. Now, what you're talking about is I have some extra money or additional money, absolutely, and it's earmarked for taxes. I don't have a choice, right? I'm going to put it into something that doesn't afford me the capability to defer taxes unless I use an annuity, but that's another animal.
Right, that's
but,
all that's separate.
Right, but if I have the capability to save more, then I can do that. Then I don't get the tax benefit, but I get the flexibility of
Well,
being
and there's a
able to use
million.
that.
I mean, there's a million calculators out there that you can use that will tell you. This used to be a. This was a line, if you will, that we used to use at that small mutual fund company that I worked at in town, which would be, if I can get you the returns of the contra fund, but they could be tax deferred returns, would that appeal to you? Would you find that interesting? Would that be something you'd
Do
be
you care about
interested
your family?
in hearing more about?
Do you love your children?
You're committing parental malpractice by not even listening to this conversation.
yeah.
Do you want to do that? And how do you do that?
how many do you
do
wanna
it
buy?
through
How
your
much?
401k. Hold on a second. You're gonna need another bag. Hold on a second. Let me get these out of here. That's right. That's the
How
idea.
much do you want? All right, so the idea of the point of this segment is that taxation, the how things are taxed is important.
Yes.
It's important, and again, the general rule of thumb is I'm going to defer my taxes as long as I can. Now, let's go back to that example.
Well,
Where
let's take a quick break
let's take a break.
because you seem a little winded to getting into
What
this
is nothing?
conversation.
Are you kidding me? I'm getting ready to spin and fire this up.
Hold on.
Let's go.
Let's take a
Let's
quick
play my
break.
E.
Let's take a quick break. We're gonna cut a quick song on the album, and then we'll be back.
We're just going to cut it in. It's just going to be an intro.
We'll
All
be
right.
back. Money in the Law, Jay Marsden, Marsden Law Group, John Drohan, Manafort Financial. We will be back in 2 minutes. Don't go far. Top off your
Maybe
beverage.
2
We'll be back.
We'll be right back.
And we're back. My FM 101.3. Jay Marsden, Marsden Law Group. John Drohan, Manafort Financial. My good buddy here. He brought his guitar in today. It's kind of a musical thing we got going on.
Jay may, he may.
Every time you bring stuff into the show, I get nervous because every time things go bad later in the day when
I
you
don't
bring
know.
stuff in.
I
Every time you
didn't
bring
bring
stuff
any
in.
tell them or do.
No, that's
That's
part of
coming
it.
though. That's
Oh,
coming.
it's-
That's coming. Yeah.
Somebody approached me last night and said, "Would you play a St. Patrick's Day party?"
Play it.
Yeah, and I'm like, "Oh, that's danger, Will Robinson."
No, I won't.
You're gonna put me in a room full of Guinness and ask me to play Irish songs? Do I want to do that?
You're like.
Do I?
You're like.
Do I?
Start
Absolutely.
rehearsing right now.
Absolutely, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, ma'am.
I drove by the office the other night. It was like 11:30, and I saw the light on in your office, and you're like,
Working on some songs,
Yeah.
putting my set list together.
My Blarney
So we're
list.
back talking money, talking law, talking music. my 3 favorite things to talk about. We're raising a glass for the great David Crosby this week.
Oh, David Crosby. Right?
God, 81 years old.
Right.
Dude was going to live forever, I thought.
I mean, you talk about a guy who's just he was the like wherever he was, like stuff happened.
That
like,
was the center of the universe.
He was, right?
Yes.
And wherever everything was, and then when he like with Crosby, Stills, like that band, right? They were like, yeah, so we're rolling, and we're at Woodstock, and
They
you're
were like the original
yeah,
super group.
Yeah, they were like because like Bob Dylan is kind of like he's like the founder of like folk music, right? He's the guy. Crosby, Stills, and Nash, they were like, oh, we like your style. Watch this, right? And they were on the tip of the spear with all of like the war protests and just like the 60s.
Oh,
like
yeah.
they were that band, right?
And that's California. That's
Right.
in the 60s.
Yes, yeah.
They're in Laurel Canyon. They're hanging out at Joni Mitchell's house.
Yeah.
They're just chilling out. I mean, it's like a movie.
Right,
I mean,
and
it's like
the music, right, and that's the other, and the music they made,
Yes.
was just it was pioneer. They're like, oh, what if we did this? And it's not like this, extravagant, like all kinds of like bells and whistles. It was like some guitars,
It's just-
maybe a drum,
Yep.
and
some vocals.
I was going to
And
say
some
some harmony.
vocals.
Yep,
Yes, and some
yeah.
vocals.
Watch if we both sing. If we
Yeah.
both sing into this microphone, this is what it sounds like.
Yeah,
Here's me and you.
Do you know he did 5 years in prison?
Oh, of course I do.
I mean, how about like, hey, I'm going to put the guitar down for a couple of years because I've been busy with work. Oh, and the prison thing, like
Yeah.
that you don't get into. It's not Jailhouse Rock.
No.
It's not like in the movies, right? It's jail.
No, there's no girls here.
That's right.
There's no dancing girls in jail.
I'm not hanging out at Joni Mitchell's. I'm trying not to get shivved. This is fantastic. I mean, come on, God.
And then the coup de grace is Melissa Etheridge says, "I want to have a baby.
Yes.
Let's see, who do I want to be the father? Who do I want to spawn my
Who
child?
genetically pulls it all together? Let me see. How about you? You'll work.
How about that
You with the
5-year
mustache.
convicted felon?
You with the mustache right there. You'll do it. You'll work. I mean, that's great.
And he was like,
I'm trying to make a musician. How do I
Yeah.
do it? How do I do it? Let me see. Who can I get? Let me get David Crosby. How about that? Let's see how that works, right?
how about that? Right.
Oh, God bless him. There was, real quick, and then we'll get back to what we're talking about. There was an article in Rolling Stone recently, not recently, but a while back, and it talked about, we probably talked about this in the show too, it talked about over the course of the next, call it 10 to maybe 15 years, how many people who were the soundtrack of your life, my life, are going to be out of the scene because they're just older. I mean, it's a natural fact of life. The Stones are almost 80, right? Are 80.
Yeah.
And you're like, they're not going to be touring at 95. They could be touring at 81, but not 95, right?
No.
And talked about all these people, Dylan, all the people you mentioned, and how in the course of the next 10 or 15 years, all these people are going to be potentially not around to make music, not around to sort of relive their glory days. And it was actually very disheartening. It was sad. It was sad. It was sad. It was like these are.
It
and again,
is
there's
like a slap in the reality face.
Yeah. And I put these people in a different camp from, I'm not a big current music guy. My musical interests live from like here to here, and that's it. I don't hear anything over here, and I don't hear anything over here.
Well, I mean, not to say that current musicians or new guys aren't talented and good and right.
No.
It's just, but that's like you said, that's the soundtrack. That's those are the growing up in the 70s as a kid and hearing like the Neil Diamond music, like all of that, like the Crosby, Stills and Nash, like all of that, like the
James Taylor, the
Rolling Stones, right? Think about the Rolling Stones. So
they're down one man, right? So they're like, all right, so they're not traveling around with Charlie Watts anymore. They've been on the road for 75 years.
But remember, so the Rolling Stones started in the 60s before you and I remember, right? So that I guess we're the same age. So I remember kind of like around 76.
Right.
So we're in 76. We're in second grade, right? 77. That's when I kind of started. All right, I'm starting to get what's going on around me.
Right.
Now, but you're a little bit different because your old man. I mean, your old man and Harry Chapin. They were buds. They were Pizos,
yes,
right?
They were buds.
I mean, you were like a beer's length away from.
Yeah, that music was everywhere. It was like you talk about soundtrack. I mean, that
Yeah.
was it, right? That's the stuff that you can't even imagine.
So you hear, all of that stuff that you hear, and you took it for granted, right? You thought, like I remember taking the '60s for granted, like the '60s, they weren't that long ago.
A million years ago,
Yeah, but they weren't.
No.
Not in 1978. They
No,
weren't.
no,
right?
not when you're 10. No, not at all.
But and you're right. So I guess this is what I would say. If you have the opportunity, like if we have the opportunity, because some of them can still do it, right?
Yep.
Some of them can still bring it, right?
Yep.
So if you have the opportunity, and again, now, ticket prices are ridiculous and everything, but like, for instance, my wife loves Madonna.
Yeah.
Loves Madonna. So, like Madonna or not, Madonna is a music icon. She's
Yes.
been making music for 40 years and consistently. She didn't take a hiatus. She wasn't like Aerosmith and we're going to take a 10-year break. We'll see you in a little while. We're going to go get some things organized and we get back in shape, right? Madonna just kept rolling. But like people like that, or Springsteen, right? So Springsteen's another one, right?
Yeah.
If you have the opportunity, and they're touring, like they're out there now.
Yeah, you want to go? Go.
Yeah.
Go. You want to see them? See them.
Yeah,
No
because-
judging. No judging. A lot of those 80s bands will package a whole thing, right?
Yeah.
You want to see, Journey and whoever. Go see
Yeah.
them. Go see them. Forget the lineup. Forget all that stuff. Like, if you're going to see them, go see them.
I'm not going to go see
the lineup
Journey.
issues are different.
I'm not going to see Journey without Steve Perry.
I'm with you.
I got to draw the line
As
somewhere.
somebody who saw the original lineup,
Exactly.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
I'm not doing it.
so-
Steve, if you're listening, Steve.
Yeah.
Come on.
You
let's
got
go.
you got to draw the line. You got to draw the line somewhere.
Gotta have some standards.
And again, so that's the thing. We were talking about another guy, Billy Joel, right? I'm a huge Billy Joel fan, right?
Come on, Piano Man? Who's looking to see Piano Man?
Right. So we were talking about we were looking online because remember Billy Joel does the Madison Square Garden. He does it like it's like a monthly thing, or like every 2 months he'll do a Madison Square Garden, and he was doing this up until COVID, and then COVID hit, and right about then my daughter Phoebe was like totally into Billy Joel. I'm like, we need to go. When he comes back, we can go see Billy Joel. And then, once COVID started up, we're like, oh, it hasn't started yet. And you look around, but you see kind of all these tribute bands, right? So Billy Joel, the Piano Man, and it's like going to come to Worcester. And nothing against those guys, super talented musicians and what. But I'm like, I just don't know if I can see the real guy.
You can
versus
see him.
them.
If you can go see him, go see him.
I feel like I would go and I would enjoy it, and I'd love the music, and I'm sure that it's top-notch music.
Yes,
But at the
yes,
same time,
Billy
I'd be
Joel,
like,
come on.
I'd be like, but I'm saying for the tributes. But if
The tributes would be great. Yeah, that's fine.
that's it.
But
But
I'm with you. I'm not there yet.
No,
I don't need a tribute if I can go see the guy.
Yeah,
I'm with you. I'm with
he's
you.
and he's doing it.
Yeah.
and he's still bringing it.
Yeah,
then
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, bringing it is right. Yeah, yeah.
Bringing it. Right.
Yep.
And it's in Madison Square Garden, which is, of course, being a native New Yorker, you wouldn't understand. You're a Boston Garden guy.
Yep.
Me, Madison Square Garden.
And I'm an old Boston Garden guy.
It's the round one.
I'm not even the new.
It's the round one. Yeah.
All right. So back to take some money out of your account and go see Billy Joel. What are we doing? Talk to me.
Take it from whatever bucket you want.
That's right. That's right. No, I don't care what bucket.
Well, no, that's your fourth bucket, right? It's your Billy Joel bucket.
Billy Joel
right?
bucket.
Yep.
That's right. That's right.
And we laugh about it, right? You laugh about that. We have that. When I said there's kind of that emergency bucket, especially for the early retirees, especially for the people who just retired.
Because they're doing a bunch of stuff. They're spending money. They're traveling. They're
Because I'm
going on that.
67 and I'm not 87.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
And,
The bike trip in Vietnam is this close, and after that, there's no more bike trip in Vietnam. So it's just a human nature thing.
So what I don't want to take my distribute, and so that's a good point, because when I'm looking at my war chest is designed for what I'm going to be able to draw my income from.
Right.
Okay. Outside of that is that what we're now from this day forward we refer to as the Billy Joel bucket.
Nice.
That is the money that and I tell people this is money that is made to be spent. It doesn't need to be spent in in one day or but this is money that you're going to use for retirement to be able to do the things that you're not going to be able to do 15 years from now or 20 years from now.
Yeah.
Like, use that money. So if you want to take the family on a trip, if your kids are young enough and they're not like, they don't have kids of their own, or they're flexible enough to be able to kind of do that, and you can afford it. That's what that money's for. Do that now, because you know how it is down the road. I mean, once your kids are like in sports or you have kids and and everybody's kind of in different directions, it's much harder to do those kinds of things.
Well, you have a window. You have a window. You have a window to do stuff. You have a window to hopefully to be active, and you have a window to spend some money on the things that mean a lot to you. And so the key is to put, like everything, put a plan together. Sit down with your advisor, sit down with the folks at Main Effort, and say, look, this is how much I have in my war chest. This is how much I'm going to get in lifetime income from Social Security. How do I make up the difference? What do I put my plan together? What's my plan look like to make up the difference. That's the piece. That's what it's all about.
And you have, and built into that is you have the flexibility to be able to adjust if, for whatever reason, I need more income, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or if a cost or an expense comes, or something, an event happens, or something where I'm going to need more money, I need to be able to. The plan needs to be flexible enough to be able to adjust, to kind of flex to that, and be able to make the adjustments and still be able to continue your retirement and stay on that same glide path.
That's what it's all about, my friend.
That's what it's all about. All right, so so the last thing we will just touch on is
we're close to summarizing
the whole idea of my distribution order and what I take. So what I like to the last thing I like to would use from is that Roth IRA, because remember in our war chest we had that Roth.
We had 3
IRA.
buckets. Yep. 3 buckets. Yep.
Now, could I potentially kind of draw from all 3 depending upon how they're invested? I could. I could. There could be a combination where everything comes from, kind of a little bit from here, a little bit more from here.
Sure.
Again, and that has to do, again, with taxation and kind of if I want to maintain myself at a particular tax bracket as opposed to, taking off from one and increasing my tax bracket where I don't have to. But the whole idea of being able to forego paying taxes for as long as I can, because you mentioned it before, once I hit age 73, however, but the new Secure Act, if I'm 67 now,
Yep.
it's going to go up to 75. So by the time the right now 67-year, and Tom is on the edge of his seat right now.
Tom
he's like,
is
oh my God.
He's writing frantically,
So at
trying
60,
to take notes.
so if I'm 67 in 2023, due to the Secure Act 2.0, I don't have to take my required minimum distributions until age 75.
And you might be working. You might be working part-time. You might be filling the bucket some way, some other way.
That's
that
right.
does not involve taking money out of your retirement account.
That's right. So again, if I'm fortunate enough where I can forego taking money from my taxable account, from my pre-tax account, I kick that can down the road as far as I can. At age 75, I have to start taking it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So at that point, and I don't have to take it all.
But you don't have to spend it. And I say that not joking. People think for any number of reasons that money they come in, they're like, I gotta take money out of my retirement.
It's like
account.
in the army. In the army, like, all right, we got to, you got $80,000. We got to get this stuff in, and the supply sergeant coming. We got $80,000 in the budget. We got to, it was a free for all.
We're buy something because if we don't buy it, we're never gonna get it again.
We need those night vision goggles. We need this. We need that. Yeah.
That's not how it works with your IRA. You can take the money out because Uncle Sam tells you, and you just gently place it into your taxable portfolio where it will now live going forward, and you can take it as needed, and the next year they're going to make you take another one. You don't have to spend it. You just got to take it.
You got to take it, and more importantly, well, according to all Uncle Sam cares is that you're paying taxes.
That's it. Yeah.
That's what Uncle Sam.
So if it was and by the way, if it was in contra fund in your IRA, you can put it in contra fund in your non-IRA. They don't care. You do whatever you want. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's no big deal.
Once you pay your taxes on it, then it can go right back into
whatever
you
want to do with it.
So from a distribution standpoint, I get to age 75, I have to start taking some money from that, right?
Yep.
So again, but I don't have to take it all, and I don't have to take a lot of it. It's all based on the formulas based on my life expectancy.
Yeah.
So again, if I have $1 million in a 401k or in an IRA, and I have to take, say, 10% of it, that means 90% of it gets to stay in the tax-deferred account.
Just sits there growing, making money.
It gets to stay in that account. And any of the earnings, if I have gains, I'm not saying I'm guaranteed to have gains, but if I have gains, I don't have to pay taxes on them until later.
Keep it,
and that's why you do it.
Keep it rolling.
And then the last, the shining star of this whole war chest is that Roth IRA.
Oh, it just sits
because
there.
The beauty of the Roth IRA is that it's invested, the taxes are deferred, and guess what? When I take the money out, I don't have to pay taxes on any of it, right? I don't have to pay taxes on any of it. So that allows me to be able to kick that can down the road or use it as much or as little as I want without a age 75 hard stop where I have to start taking money out of it. And I could use it early, I could use it later, but if I can, again, the whole concept of being able to forego paying taxes for as long as I can, that's the ideal tax situation you want to be in. Are you okay?
I love it.
You okay? Do you want to play a song?
Not right this second.
All right, well, I think that's it.
That's it.
Yeah,
We're done.
Gotta wrap
We're
this
done.
up. All right,
Done. So we're on the video. We're on the video. We're not on the radio.
but it's going to be on the radio.
It will be on the radio.
Tom's going to make it
That's
happen.
why you don't see it. It doesn't work right
That's
now.
gonna-
We'll fix it.
So when you watch it on the radio, I mean, you know what I mean. When you watch it, yeah.
You're
so
recording it on your TiVo.
So it'll get there.
VCR.
It may be a couple weeks away, but everybody is going to be seeing it on Holliston Cable Access. Holliston Up. I mean, whatever that new thing is going
Tom's
to be.
going to work this over, and
Yeah.
it's going to be like he's going to green screen the background.
People are going to be like,
Crazy.
you guys should probably put the microphones back just to kind of break it up a little
Just to
bit.
break up your vibe.
All right. We'll see everybody next time on Money in the Law. My FM 101.3, Holliston Cable Access TV, Jay Marsden, John Drohan.
Tom.
How about that?
What is that,
That's
Tom?
Tom.
All
That's
right.
Tom. We call him Tom.
Tom. Have a
Pickle
great
Tom.
week, everybody.
All right, we'll
Take
see
care.
you.
See you.